Hi, life has a way of humbling you. Life has a way of pushing you to the extreme. And for so many people, you would want to begin to ask questions. Of course, I've told a lot of stories about my journey. Some I told in defense of my integrity. Some I told because I wanted to just relieve myself of those pains. Some I told because I wanted someone out there to learn a lesson. And some of the stories, if you have been following me, hinged on one, how I left my banking job. I resigned with the hope that I was totally prepared for the streets. I guess I deceived myself that I wasn't actually prepared. I've told how I came out with a lot of money and lost everything until I had to go and sell properties again that I had invested in and started a new life and lost it again. And then not just that, I had to go into selling for people, generated funds, went back again, sold one or two properties again, launched in and lost it. I've told stories about how I was defrauded by land agents, not just ordinary land agents that you would say fell from blues, including very close senior friends that I respected, and not just them, including my own staff, how I was dealt with by these same people. I've told stories about how I got so broke to the extent I couldn't even feed my family, and turning sometimes to look at these little children and saying, God, how do I feed them today? It got so bad. Unfortunately, I was carrying this burden all alone. I couldn't tell people, I couldn't share it. So days would come when I would have to give an eye sign to my wife and say, just deal with what you have at home. Let's just move on. And miraculously, God comes to my rescue most times. I've told stories about how I couldn't even pay for health bills, and God, I don't know how to say this, how God brought a medical doctor, Dr. John Agbo, to my life, and he gave me that cover. I probably would have been dead by now, because when this whole thing came on me, it affected my health as well. And at some point, I was going to give up. But for the likes of people like him, I was revived. Not just me, I just through him, I gave birth to all my kids. And every one of my kids went through cesarean section, and some I had to owe him for months before I could pay back. During the same period, I've talked about how house rent became a very serious bone in my throat, including my office, to the point where I didn't have a car. At the point, I was trekking. I remember, I'm sure I've talked about this before, but very close people would know that at some point, there was a land case I stayed in court for almost 5 years. And it got to a point where I couldn't afford to drive a car. And I had to start hopping on bikes, hopping on public transport, and living my life that way. You see, the point I'm trying to drive at is this. When it gets so low for you as an individual, when life hits you badly, very hard, that point when family and friends even begin to doubt you, this is my advice. Keep going. Just keep going. God is only trying to prove that he is God, and he doesn't intend to share his glory with any man. Today, I want to announce again that with the mercy of God, of course, you remember last week, I think about last week or 2 weeks ago, I announced the receipt of my certificate of occupancy from one of my lands, my estate land, not just land, estate land, commercial estate land. We received it. The process there has been on for 2 years, and today, miraculously again, I got a call this morning, and the man on the other side of the phone was like, "Don't you want to come and collect your approval again?" I'm like, "I don't understand, sir." He said, "Your development control approval has been given since signed. You are supposed to come and collect it." Hey, ladies and gentlemen, here comes it. In case you don't even understand very well, let me show you. Here comes my development control approval. It has been issued, and God alone is glorified. I picked a bike and went there to hear exactly what they were trying to say. And they said, "It's been approved. Here comes it. You can take now." And I collected it. Now, some of you would be wondering why Tim has been updating you about properties, his properties. I'm not a wealthy man yet. I'm not the big names you know yet, but I'm targeting a level where my company would be a household name, not because of the kind of money we're going to have, but for the fact that we have impacted in the lives of the ordinary man. I want a situation where when the ordinary man is talking about those who have made impacts in their lives, when it comes to property, when it comes to investments, they would be mentioning this company. That is the reason I'm sharing these updates and the journey we make. I am one of the sons of the ordinary man, as they would always say. I am not from a wealthy home. I'm not from an influential home. I am one who is making an impact for my family to be known worldwide. And I pray that God will grant me the grace to be able to achieve that feat. But most importantly, achieving that feat would be useless without mentioning the fact that he has impacted in the lives of the ordinary man and woman on the street by creating an opportunity for them to own assets. That's the direction I'm actually going. That's what I'm passionate about. That is my why. That is what drives me every day. So having said that, I want to invite every one of you to continue to look up to God, the author and finisher of our faith, that in whatever challenge or challenges you find yourself today, God should come to your rescue. God should help you so you can come out of it without losing your life. Join me to celebrate this impeccable achievement. Thank you and stay blessed. Team here.